much as you may hate or dislike social media, you can't run away from that. Really being well versed with what is happening on different platforms. From an education standpoint, what I personally feel is becoming really sad where people are not prioritizing education. And I don't mean fancy, I mean getting a degree which truly teaches you what you want to be able to learn on the job. So I think.
So, Sanya, it's really, really amazing. Thank you for joining us at the Women Inspiring Network. And as a marketing lead for Forest Essentials, I want to know all about your journey. So, today we have Sanya Dawar from Forest Essentials, and she's going to tell us a bit about her journey. 15 years. Please
15
start
years.
from the beginning.
Thank you, Stuti, first of all, for inviting me. And I've been a very big fan of everything that you're doing. My journey did not begin in marketing or communications. I was a math numbers nerd, and I did my undergraduate degree in statistics from Hindu University.
Wow, I like it.
I was in my first year, I knew this is so not the field I'm going into. So during my 3 years of college, I did 3 internships with Vogue. And that was my sort of first stint into the world of fashion and communication and lifestyle and luxury. And at the age of 22, dream opportunity to work with Dior, where they called me in for an interview to look after their press and PR relations for the country. And I took it in a heartbeat. Worked there for 2.5 years, built relationships with the top editors and stylists and journalists in the country. At that point, influencers were not really a thing, but it was sort of up and coming, and Dior became the first brand in India who sort of leveraged that. I went to Paris Fashion Week, took a celebrity from India. It was my Devil Wears Prada moment at the age of 22.
Nice.
That was literally, I was living in my dream closet at that point in time. And I remember I left Dior to do my master's because I realized that my undergraduate degree was such a departure from where I actually was going work-wise. And then I did a master's in London College of Fashion in an MA in strategic fashion marketing. Came back after my degree, and the pandemic hit, so wasn't the greatest time to explore a job in London, and started working with Forest Essentials when I moved back to India, and it's been 4.5 years since.
Yeah, lovely. And
Yeah.
I believe so. You guys are doing some exciting things with the brand. And so tell me, how does a typical day of yours look like? And and tell me some of the sustainability practices which the brand has.
I don't think I can ever categorize a day as typical in marketing. Marketing, I feel, changes every second. You see a new Instagram post and suddenly your brain will just be like, oh my God, this is what we need to do, and why aren't we doing this? So I think marketing is really about being on the run and being on the ball in terms of what is going on. And sustainability, honestly, before it became a fad and before it became the most overused term, I feel today, that has been part of Forest Essentials since the very beginning. It wasn't a PR gimmick. It wasn't something doing for the people to think we're sustainable. But the founder of the brand, who is my personal inspiration, Miss Meera Kulkarni, she was very, very passionate about making every journey of the product, of creating that product to finally selling the product, sustainable and good for the environment. Because literally to give back to the environment what we take from it. So whether it was employing women at a time where women were not heard to work and they were literally limited to doing household chores and answering to the husband, and she actually spoke to the head of the village up in Rishikesh, because that is where the first workshop opened, and she was extremely passionate about bringing women into the factories and empowering the local population, and she opened bank accounts for them, and the rest became history. So in terms of reduction of using plastic, going through an entire packaging overhaul of introducing glass containers, being one of the companies that has the largest amount of women working from them. So I think all facets of sustainability and corporate social responsibility is something Forest Essentials is.
So I love what you talked about sustainability, and when we were chatting earlier, because for Wayne, our next stop is after Cannes, New York, which is during the Climate Week.
Yeah.
And sustainability is one of our key pillars, which we sort of touch upon, and we'd love to get the story of your brand and your spokesperson out there. But I loved what you talked about, and just last night we had a call with someone from UN who was talking about plastic in the human brain.
Really?
And that's going to be one of our topics, one of our panels in New York during
Oh, wow.
Climate Week. Yeah. And so we're getting like eminent personalities and scientists from different fields talking about it. So when you talked about that, I was just remembering
It's the need of the hour.
Yeah.
I think it's been the need of the hour from the very beginning. When you're creating a product for the consumer, you're truly taking a lot from the environment. So what can you do to give back is where it sort of begins.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sort of, I want you to sort of give your thoughts on what does it take for the youngsters who are just coming out of colleges. What sort of skills should they have if they want to make a career in marketing? Because that has been your domain.
Yeah.
I understand you've been in different facets of marketing, but what sort of skill, what is it that they should do to upgrade themselves? And, if you can tell us a bit about that, that would be really...
Sure. I think for someone who's getting into marketing, as much as you may hate or dislike social media, you can't run away from that. That is where...
That's going to be my next question, but yeah.
Okay. So I think really being well versed with what is happening on different platforms. From an education standpoint, what I personally feel is becoming really sad where people are not prioritizing education. I think it's really about learning on the job, which is definitely a part of it. And I think the generation is now becoming more hustlers than I would say in our times when it was doing the undergraduate degree, doing the master's degree, and really learning from people who have earned that credibility. I'm old school like that, so I still put a lot of power into what you learn in universities and schools. And I think there's a different school of thought. A lot of people like you don't need to have a fancy degree. And I don't mean fancy. I mean getting a degree which truly teaches you what you want to be able to learn on the job. So I think when I did my undergraduate degree, I realized that I got the stamp of Hindu, I got the stamp of a statistics honors, but it didn't get applied anywhere. And the reason I did my master's 5 years into working is I was very sure this is the field I'm going to be in for the rest of my life. So I think to someone who's looking to start their career, be open to any kind of job because you never know. My first job made me realize this is where I want to be. And it'll maybe take you 3 jobs or 5 jobs. But when you're a youngster, don't already have closed doors. I think the number one thing is be open and definitely prioritize education.
So I want to
sort of,
so I'm going to sort of come back to it because I was there. WINS, of course, next stop is on 18th of June. We have our own event at Cannes, which is the biggest creativity festival. It's the Cannes Lion, and you have experts from advertising agency, digital, influencer marketing, so on and so forth. And so at our event, like we have speakers from Spotify to we have Casper Lee, who's been a big YouTuber or influencers, and but what I noticed in Cannes, and which is what I was just telling you, that let's say I play pickleball with the Spotify CEO, but I don't see the Indians sort of exposing themselves. And some of the things which I saw at Cannes last year, like some of your biggest ad tech companies, which is your Metas and the Amazons and LinkedIn's and okay, TikTok is not your Pinterest. They had these amazing beachfront beach clubs. So like Pinterest had something called the Pinterest Manifest Festival. It was the biggest creativity festival. So you could like do block printing, you could do different things. Like I took my little one there. So she was already telling me that I'm going to go there. But it wasn't like just the grown-ups, there were even children. So it's also about exposure, which I feel in India is sort of currently lacking, like what you also just said, that like the more you study or the more you expose yourself, your mind opens up more.
100%.
And that's the kind of feel. But I don't see many Indians at such forums, and I've often been told that, are you from India? And I'm like, yes, we are very much from India, and we are an organization, the network is an organization out of India. So how do we sort of bridge this gap? Like, I don't see them. And in fact, I see a lot of PR professionals, marketing professionals, of the various groups I'm part of. And they'll just come, whether it's with a client or not, just for the exposure of it, they just come 100%. Just to learn. But I don't see that sort of zeal coming out of Indians currently, and why do you think is that gap? Like you can probably, because you're with a brand and you can probably talk about it.
It's really sad if that zeal is not there because there's so much potential. I mean, there is so much potential in our country. The talent is to another extent. I can only speak personally in terms of why are you not putting yourself out there? I think there's a lot of insecurity today. When you look at the world of social media, I think 5 years ago, 7 years ago, people weren't thinking so much. They were literally doing things that they were passionate about, not caring. Are they being seen somewhere? Is my picture good? And I think today somewhere that's lost, and I think that's in a larger sense where you're becoming too conscious. If that could be a way. I mean, it's something that if something is making you think so much about, if you have the resources and you can put yourself out there just to go out and maybe attend the Cannes Film Festival or another event happening at a global stage, do it. I mean, that's what I would say. I was fortunate enough to get opportunities through my job, and I'm fortunate enough to have been to multiple countries with family holidays, and that exposure I can't put a price on because I literally, my summer right now, I went to Copenhagen, and just the kind of streets I was walking and I was seeing branding, my mind was just churning, and I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. This is something I can bring back and probably implement in Forest Essentials. Now, that's not something any job can teach. I was out in the streets and I was just looking at brands and I was looking at how they're positioning themselves, and I was with my family and we saw like a digital screen, and I was like, is that something that you guys watch? And I genuinely wanted to know because today brands are putting so much money behind TV advertisements or digital screens and hoardings. And I just wanted an opinion because you were walking by this really amazing street in Copenhagen. You saw multiple digital screens of different brands, and I looked at them and I'm like, would you guys pay attention to this? Because lakhs and lakhs of money has gone into putting that. And they're like, no, we wouldn't ever see it. Now that's one group opinion, but it stuck with me. And I'm like, in one of the fanciest places, someone is not looking at a digital screen. So marketing today is just not traditional. And these kind of ideas can only come when you allow yourself to be in an environment which is not safe. I think it's about taking that risk. Now, we're doing actually 2 activations which are coming up, one in Kolkata and one in Lucknow. And I've always been the sort of leader where I'm like, okay, if I can do it once by myself, just to make sure nothing goes wrong. And then I always put my team forward to the management saying they need to travel. I've taught them once, but if they're not on the ground and they're only doing the back end work, how will they learn? And I think if that gap is missing, I think the onus lies on the people in the company and the leaders and the managers to empower them to get out there, because how are they going to learn and how will they train the next person who comes to work under them?
Yeah, that's a good advice. That how do you delegate? How do you sort of get them up to speed?
Yeah.
How exposure
By
can
throwing
sort
them
of
in the swimming pool. How else do you learn how to swim? I feel like you just need to be thrown into that pool and you either sink or swim. And it will be a learning for them. It will be a learning for the brand. It will be a learning for the leader.
And I want to now ask you, how do you balance between your personal and professional?
My personal is my professional life. I don't even know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I am addicted to my work, and
you should have a me time.
No,
I'm addicted to my work, but I have a me time.
I definitely have my me time, but professional life takes up a lot more of my time, and actually I'm okay with that. I remember last year was my birthday, and my boss called me to meet her, and she was like, "What are you doing today?" I said, "I'm going to office." And she said, "Why? It's your birthday." And I said, they say you should be in your happy place on your birthday. And I said, my cabin and my workplace and the natural light and the plants, that's my happy place. So I actually I may be the wrong person, and younger generations will be like, oh, she doesn't have a work-life balance, she's not doing her personal stuff. I am, but my work gives me so much joy that for me that becomes a combination of me time as well as personal and professional.
Yeah, that's nice. And tell me, what's next for you? What do you see yourself doing a few years from now?
Hopefully be the CMO or a C-suite position with a big brand. I mean, whether it's a Forest Essentials or anyone else, I've always thrived on climbing the corporate ladder. And that's where I want to be. I want to be on the board of brands. I want to be tailoring marketing strategies for the biggest names in the country or in the world. And there are women who I've looked up to who have truly climbed the corporate ladder. And I hope to get there one day.
Nice. And any last messages for our young listeners out there? Any tips or message which you can give it to the young professionals out there?
I think in today's world, don't get intimidated. There is too much out there. I think listen to your gut. It will never, never be wrong. You will take risks, but if there is a voice inside you, just follow it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining, and it was truly a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you, Stuti. This was lovely, and thank you for having me.
Thanks.